All right, so my client Jonathan walked in maybe 5 minutes ago. So we're going to do a live shoulder assessment to assess his active range of motion versus his passive range of motion, and just kind of remind his brain that he probably has access to shoulder flexion. So Jonathan, what I want you to do is keep your back against the wall, your palm facing outward, and when you feel your first form of restriction on that left side only, that's where I want you to stop. So right about there. So that is Jonathan's active range of motion, so he is doing the work. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if he has access to more shoulder flexion to see if we can kind of remind his brain of what that feels like. So I'm going to have Jonathan do is keep his lower back against the wall, and I'm going to bring him back to the wall a little bit more. So the palm is now touching. Now what I want him to do is he's in position, his elbow is as close to his arm as possible, his head as possible, and I want him, when I remove my hand, I don't want you to let your arms move. I want you to kind of like relearn what that position feels like. So I want you to hold it there and breathe. So I'm going to have him hold it there and just kind of remind him and nudge him that he does probably have control and access to that range of motion. Okay, breathe, and inhale, exhale. Good, and it's challenging. He's working a little bit, and then you're going to relax. Bring your arm back down. And now what we're going to do, as that truck passes by, this is why we do it live, he's going to reassess that to see if he regained an additional range of motion without doing any stretching and without mobilizing anything. So go ahead and do it again, Jonathan. And he is much closer to the wall this time. So we got an increase. Before he was right about here, and we got an additional, 10, 15 degrees of shoulder flexion without jamming anything to his pec or doing any rudimentary corrective exercise. So sometimes with clients, you just got to remind the brain that it does have control over that passive range of motion, and we just got to nudge people a little bit to remind them that they have access to that range of motion by doing a drill such as this. So now we would do other drills with Jonathan to cement that in, but he might likely be able to do some overhead pressing in today's session after we do some more stuff. But this is just a quick little video just to show you that it is important to assess active range of motion and passive, and if there is a difference between the two, see if you can get a more range of motion in that passive, get them to own it, and then in all likelihood you're going to see an improvement. So it's a pretty cool trick. Not that it's a trick, but there's research and science behind that, but it just proves to your clients that they're not broken, and then we might just have some slight work to do to remind them that they have access to that range of motion.